Hi there. There are two main ways that you can buy strawberry plants. You can either buy them in bare roots or potted plants. Bare roots are the much cheaper way to go when you're trying to buy some strawberries to start a new strawberry bed. For instance, these 10 roots cost $3, whereas if you buy them in potted plants, they can be a lot more expensive. Say, the ones I bought last year were $2 per plant, which doesn't seem like that much, but when you go and buy 10 plants, that would be $20. Whereas these 10 plants were only $3, so it's a much more cost-effective way to do it. However, bare roots can be a little bit harder to grow. Sometimes they can be a little finicky. You have to make sure they're watered correctly and they don't get too cold or they don't get too hot right away. And sometimes when you plant them directly outside, you can't always control all of those things. I mean, if it rains and they flood, then there's really not much you can do about that. Or if there's some cold weather coming and you've already planted them and they're not supposed to freeze, then, you know, you can cover them to try to protect them, but sometimes it doesn't always work out. So what I have learned to do, because I want the inexpensive way to get them in the bare roots, but I want the survival rate of a potted plant, is I just take the bare roots and I pot them. And then you get the best of both worlds. So I went outside and I looked for all of my pots to try to find some pots to plant these bare root strawberries in, and I found these ones that were labeled strawberries. So I'm going to go ahead and use those. If I wouldn't have had these ones, you know, I probably would have used maybe these little square ones. They're not quite as tall. Or maybe these big round ones. They're the same height but a little bit wider. Maybe those would have been a good choice. But since we have these strawberry ones, these will work out fine. They are about 4 inches wide and 4 inches tall. I would say they're about the size of a large drinking cup. So if you were looking for some inexpensive way to get some pots, I would use that. Drinking cups work well. So the first thing you do is you open the bag. And it looks kind of messy and it's not very pretty. But this is what it looks like when you first get them. Now you need to be really gentle with them, because from what I have learned in the past is if you accidentally break the leaves off of the new plants, they greatly decrease their survival rate. So be extremely gentle with them when you're doing this. So they are usually held together with a rubber band. Just pick through until you find the rubber band. And then take that off. Looks like these ones were packed in some moss, some peat moss. Okay, and then really gently thumb through them until you can separate the plants. It may not look like there's 10, but there is. Usually there's 11 actually. I usually get 10 good ones and then one that looks like it isn't going to live, and sometimes it doesn't live. Okay, here's one plant that I have separated, and the first thing you'll notice is that there are all these little ugly things sticking out from it. They're leaves from last year. They're the runners where they were connected to their mother plant. What you want to do is go ahead and clip those off. They're just going to rot if you put them below the soil, and they're just going to look ugly if they're above, so they're not needed. Very carefully just clip them off with your scissors until they're all gone. One more, and there. And then we're going to go ahead and stick them in our pot. Gentle, gentle. And just hold it right in the center of the pot and take some potting soil and pour it around the plant until it's covered with soil just to the crown. You don't want to bury the crown because that'll cause the strawberry plants to rot and then they'll die. If you plant them too high and the leaves are, or the roots, excuse me, if the roots are sticking out, then they'll dry out and die. So in that regard, strawberry plants are a little bit picky. So plant them right to the crown. The crown is, let's see if I can find another one here. The crown is the part of the plant that goes from where the leaves start to come out and the roots come out. There's a good maybe ½ inch in between, and you want to plant them right at the bottom of the crown, right where the leaves, right where the roots meet the crown. So plant them right there, and then once they're in there, pots. Just give them a little drink of water. And then continue to water them throughout the time when you're growing them indoors. You can stick them in a sunny window or underneath a grow light. And within a couple days you'll notice that they'll start to sprout some new leaves. And they won't look quite so sad looking. It won't take long. Strawberries really grow fast. So, anyway, I'm Virgo Green Girl. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and thanks for watching.